Welcome back.
Welcome back.
What should we name the podcast? Comment down below. We don't have.
We still didn't think about this.
We haven't. Well, today we're going to be talking about different diets, diet culture, the best diet to do if you want to lose fat, all the above. So just dieting in general, kind of a good theme for my content, anyways. Talk about dieting constantly. So number one.
Only talk about that.
Number one.
But let's dive in.
So this is kind of the whole coaching philosophy I like to do is teach people different diets so they can adhere to it. Seems out of whack because a lot of people, they kind of just do meal plans and then expect their client to do it. I don't do that. I'm a big fan of teaching them the why so they can do it themselves. So you can do calorie banking, carb cycling, which are kind of intertwined, carnivore, keto, all the above.
So number one, we're going to do calorie banking and OB health. Can I say?
Banking. It's going to be more of an extreme deficit during weekdays. So someone that has a 9 to 5, they can adhere to a more steep of a deficit during the weekdays. So say on average, a normal person has a 200 to 300 calorie deficit during the weekdays. To make it more steep, you can do a 350 to 500 calorie deficit on the days on the week. And on the weekend, you're going to eat at maintenance. And in that week, you'll still burn the exact same. You just do weekly averages. So this works really well for the person that works really hard on weekdays. They don't really have a lot of time to do meal prep, or they don't have a lot of time to eat, and they're very busy, so they don't think of food. And the weekends, they like to see their friends, their family, go on dates, all these things. And they actually will adhere to the weight loss better because that fits their schedule better. So rather than doing 200 calories, 200 calories, 200 calories, steep weekdays, weekends, maintenance. And you actually look normal to normal people because people don't like dieting in front of people, going out to restaurants and things like that. It's
Make
a lot
sure
more.
say to still count on weekends.
Yeah, you're still counting. You're just eating at maintenance. You're not going crazy, balls to the wall. You're just chill, maintenance. Super easy. I like the diet. I actually had done it before when I was doing cheat days and things like that. I would be in a steeper deficit. And then on the cheat day, I can kind of just forget about it. And then 1 or 2 days after, steep deficit, and then back to normal. That's how all those skinny guys you see on the weekdays, they do calorie baking on accident. Your skinny friend that has the fast metabolism. They eat one big meal in front of you. They think, oh, wow, this guy has a fast metabolism. He can eat whatever he wants. He has that McDonald's burger in front of me. He has the whole Happy Meal. Doesn't get any weight. If you really think about it, you probably had 1,200 calories the day before, 3,000 calories in front of you. You're like, holy cow. Next day, not that hungry. Probably back to 1,200, then 1,500, then 1,800. Then he goes, oh, I'm going to do 3,000 calories again in front of you. And you're like, dude, every time I see this dude, he's eating the whole house. But in reality, he's not eating that much. And if you actually live with someone that's skinny, you'll understand this. They do this constantly. They have one big meal and they don't eat hardly at all after. It's because they have no food noise. They don't think of food. They kind of just eat when they're in a very steep deficit and they're like, oh my goodness, I'm starving. And they eat a huge meal and then less.
Wow, I like that a lot. You can still have cheat meals during a week if you properly count.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of labeling it as cheat though, because it's a lot of mindset and it's a really common question I get. So it's a good thing you brought up. Is it okay to have cheat meals? How do I implement cheat meals? How do I have cheat days? I'm not a big fan of labeling things like that because you're assigning emotions to food.
Ooh.
So you can just fit your daily things that you want to eat in your calories and macros. If you're tracking properly, you can fit your favorite foods in. We had ice cream today.
We did.
I still look the way I do year round and I'm able to eat foods I enjoy and it doesn't feel like dieting.
And when you put a labels on it as a cheat day or no cheat day, you're mentally just going into like restriction yourself. And the more you think about it, the more you want it in the same constant loop.
Yeah. And then next up, we're going to be talking about intermittent fasting. And Yana actually enjoys intermittent fasting.
I like fasting.
When we were working together, still technically are with your lean bulk, but it's not as insane because you know pretty well everything yourself.
Yeah.
So intermittent fasting.
Hard.
How do you implement intermittent fasting? How can people use it? Do you think it's good? Pros and cons? Oh, one last thing. We're going to do pros and cons. Pros of calorie banking. You don't look crazy on the weekends. It's just hard on the weekdays. Cons. I don't really think a lot of cons. It's just.
There's no really cons.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. If you get your good macros like fats and protein, you're not going to lose any muscle. So no side effects really. It's just if you can adhere to it. It's a little unique, but some people like it, some don't. Now intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting. Everybody can learn to do intermittent fasting. How I started it, I had an app. I still have the app that lets me count the hours that does the intermittent fasting. So I start from, you have to gradually grow into, for example, 24 hours, right? You can't just right away go into 24 hours fast.
Define it first. So intermittent fasting, you eat.
Oh, okay. Intermittent fasting, you eat 6 hours and you don't eat for
18.
18.
But that's up to you. You get to pick your hours.
You can pick your hours from like 16 or...
A lot of people do 18, 6, and 20 and 4. Those are pretty popular.
Yeah, or 24.
And then the whole world kind of does 14, 10, unintentional.
Yeah.
How did you use it when you were doing your aggressive cut?
I would stop eating around 6, 5, eat the whole day till 6, 5, and then start my fast. And then it was easier for me to not eat later at night because I don't get that hungry because I use all my calories. And then I start my fast, go into next morning, still fasting. Just make sure you're hydrating a lot.
Electrolytes too.
Electrolytes too. Helps so much with hunger and keeps you hydrated. And then you start again, the same thing. And you just start eating normally.
What was your exact time frame? You haven't said that. So you stop at 6. When would your first meal be in the morning?
How much is it? 16 hours forward? I
Be like 10.
10, yeah. I mean, I was gradually doing different fast. So like I would do first day fast and then not fast and then fast and then not fast. And then I did one day 24 hours fast, but it was about religion fast. So it didn't really matter.
So intermittent fasting, I think a lot of pros of it is people that like to have a big meal, feel really satiated after a meal. It really is good because you can have big portions. And
I don't like to do that. I like to separate my meals so I don't get as hungry.
Yeah, it's each their own though, because if you have natural spikes in your insulin throughout the day, insulin doesn't make you fat inherently, but if you have a bigger spike in your glucose, you naturally feel hungrier. So if you have continuous glucose spikes...
Oh, please talk about glucose.
If we have continuous spikes in glucose, you naturally overeat. So insulin's not making you fat. It's just the fact that you're hungrier due to the fact of your insulin spiking. But you can do a lot of things to mitigate that. Rather than have only carbs, you can pair it with a protein and a fat. You can pair it with a fiber source. You can go on a walk.
To not spike your glucose.
Yeah, as much. No matter what.
No matter what, you're still going to spike your glucose.
It's just a part of the body. It's a naturally occurring thing. So a lot of people fearing it, I think, is pretty funny.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It puts glucose into the muscle, so it helps with the performance. It's anabolic. It helps you grow muscle. A lot of bodybuilders use insulin as a thing in the off season to gain muscle because it's one of the most anabolic things on this earth. But it's extremely dangerous to run if you're not diabetic and you don't have medical supervision. So I'm not saying to do that. But insulin has been demonized and there's a lot of benefits to it. And it's naturally occurring in the body. It's like men, if they were fearing estrogen, men need estrogen. It's part of the body. And then people label things and assign emotions to it. It's so strange.
Another thing about fasting, you have to learn how to properly get off fasting. You can't just go straight into carbs or eating sugar because of the glucose spike. It's going to skyrocket.
Yeah, because you have nothing in your system.
Yes, because you have nothing in your system. Personally, the way I was doing it, if I did 24-hour fast, I would start with a bone broth. Just literally a bone broth to like get my system going. It's
also a good electrolyte. Has a lot of sodium.
Yeah, it's great. So focus on protein. The first meal has to be with the protein, no carbs. Carbs after. So fiber, protein, carbs.
Yeah, when you break fast, it's really important. But I always just say to do a digestion walk after you eat. Go for a 10-minute walk. The contracting of the muscle makes it so your insulin's not spiking as much, so you don't get tired after a meal. You're not gonna have that massive spike and drop if you do have that carb-heavy meal. That's why it's really good to have carbs right before a workout. Increases performance because it delivers the glucose to the muscle. And if you're exercising, you're contracting that muscle. It's a lot of good things. You mitigate it. You just have to understand it. And all these people say, "Oh, I understand insulin," all these things. It's like, you really don't. You're making people fear insulin when there's going to be a big word where it decreases fatty oxidation for a slight duration while it's spiked. But that doesn't have an effect on the overall fat on your body. And it's the same thing with cortisol. The amount of people that say, we'll go on that in the end. Next diet we're going to talk about is, so we did calorie banking, intermittent fasting, the essential diet. You guys have seen me talk about it a lot. I just coined the term this, but it's an aggressive cut where you just have the essential macros and micros to make you healthy and you lose a substantial amount of fat. I have a client, he's down 10 pounds in 2 weeks. Crazy. Almost a pound a week. You lost 11 pounds in 14 days, which is bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple people have done it. I did it myself. I lost 13 pounds in 2 weeks, 2,000 calorie deficit on a daily basis. And a lot of people ask me how I did that. I would increase the deficit due to activity. So I was walking 6 miles a day, and then I was eating 1,200 calories a day as well. I'm a bigger person, around 205. When I was doing it, I was around 214. So now my caloric intake is pretty high. So eating 1,200 calories is quite low for a person of my size. So I did that, lost a bunch of fat. You have to have your protein, you have to have your essential fats, you have to have your essential micronutrients, but that's a whole, I could talk about this for an hour for the things you exactly need, because you need a coach if you've never dieted and you do this, because you can plummet your hormones. Women have lost their period, men have plummeted their testosterone, become hypogonad, their stress is out of the world, they lose their sleep, they can't train, they lose muscle because they're not training properly, they're not timing their meals. It's so many things.
Or training too much.
Exactly. Too much fatigue. There's a lot of nuances to it, but it's a very essential way. Not essential. It's a very fast way to lose fat. There's no cap out on how much fat your body can lose in a day. Because think about it. There's no cap out on how much fat you can gain in a day. There's no cap outs. Your body doesn't magically go, oh, stop now. We're going to stop losing fat because we're in the starvation mode, or our thyroid.
Autophagy.
No, that's fasting. Autophagy.
I thought it was fasting.
So that's the essential diet. That's a really cool diet I really like. I think a lot of people can utilize it, but you have to be a little more advanced. And if you're a beginner, by no means am I going to even let you do that. A lot of clients come to me asking to do that when they've never even touched the gym. And I'm like, nope, sorry, we're not going to do that. You don't have enough muscle on your frame. It's going to cause a lot of issues. It's really hard to adhere to, but if you can, all power to you. Next diet's going to be low carb. I'm personally not the biggest fan of it because of the fact of how much I love carbs. But
People scared of carbs.
Yes.
Especially girls.
Yes, but low carb does work for people. Like, I can't let my personal bias get in the way of it, of me not enjoying it, because the benefits of carbs, it helps you mitigate fatigue, helps performance in the gym, you get better muscle contraction, so many benefits. But a very simple way, if you don't want to track calories, is doing a low carb diet due to the nature of you're not going to overeat on fats and protein, because it's very satiating. So if you have very low choices of food that don't taste that great and you're not spiking your insulin nearly as much, you're not going to be as hungry. So it's for the person that kind of wants to lazy diet. But when you're doing lazy diet, you might be in a super steep deficit and not realize it. And it's very inconsistent because you're not tracking calories. So I'm not the biggest fan of it due to that nature. And it is really easy to overeat on calories with fats.
What about animal-based diet? Because they're getting...
I really like that diet, actually. A lot of people think I hate it. And a lot of people think I hate Santa Cruz. And a lot of people think I hate these creators. I love Brennan. He's amazing. I lived next to him for a while, collabed with him multiple times, stayed with him, watched a bunch of UFC fights. Sweetest guy alive, genuinely. Off camera, does unbelievable things for his friends. Always there to help you out. Amazing guy. And he promotes animal base.
Yeah, he is.
I love animal base. Oh, you met him.
Yeah.
Yeah, animal base is amazing. I think it's
not for everybody.
It's carnivore without the scurvy. So animal base, it is essentially a very healthy diet, and you don't have to track on it. A lot of people higher up wellness, everyone loves him. He doesn't track his calories. He just does animal base. And then here and there, he eats Wendy's. Here and there, he eats McDonald's, but that's on special occasions. Really not a big deal. So animal based diet, I really like it. So animal based, you can't have any processed foods to an extent. They mean more ultra processed, because processing food is literally cleaning your food sometimes is processing it.
Cutting an apple.
Yeah. So that's obviously the definition of it. But what they mean is packaged foods and things like that. So inherently, it's a great diet. I just don't like the fact that it makes people fear a lot of things and they think those foods are making them fat, when in reality, animal-based just makes you feel really full because you're getting all your essential macros, you're getting all your essential micros, you're getting all your essential things in your diet. So that's why you're feeling so full and so good and you perform great. It's just...
I would also watch the amount of iron they intake, because sometimes they eat too much red meat.
I like that you said that. That's really impressive. If they cook on an iron skillet as well.
I watch you every day.
Cast iron. If you cook a cast iron with steak, that was a weird phraseology. If you cook a steak on a cast iron pan, you can actually get iron overload, which is really bad for your liver. You can also make it so you don't coagulate after you get a cut. Your skin doesn't scab up as well. Your blood doesn't coagulate as well. You can get high LDL. You can also get super high testosterone, which people are like, oh, it's awesome. But it's actually a toxin in the body because your free test isn't going up. It's really hard in your liver and kidneys. So if you have a lot of creators that are carnivore based, look at testosterone, it's 1,400 points per deciliter. And then you look at the free test, and it's 180 sometimes, or 100 and then 280 sometimes. That's crazy low free test. And free test is what put muscle on the body.
Can you tell them what is the good amount of free testosterone? Like, what is the healthy amount?
Depends on the tester.
Okay.
If you go through LabCorp or Quest, it changes.
Okay.
Each doctor has different ranges. But the general rule of thumb, if you're a healthy male, is 400 to 900, around there. If you're under 400, you could optimize testosterone better than some. A lot of people feel really good. Alex Hormozi is a great example. Dude has 150 points per deciliter, something stupid low. He just optimizes it really well. So some people optimize the amount that they have in their body better than others. So in theory, if someone had 1,000 points per deciliter and they didn't optimize it as well, that person with 150 that uses all 150 really well could in theory gain more muscle, which is crazy to say. So it's how you feel. If you feel really low libido, lack of confidence, anxiety, depression, things like that, you probably have low test. And if your test score is low, you're not optimizing it well. So you should be on things.
Can we please dive in a little bit into this? Because one of my friends reached out to me, and she told me that her husband was feeling super lazy, no motivation, nothing, and he checked his test and it was super low. And now she was asking me how to naturally raise his testosterone.
There's a lot of things you can do to naturally boost your testosterone without taking testosterone replacement therapy. There is a point where you should take TRT, especially if you're older. I think you start decreasing by the age of 35. Don't quote me exactly, but around that age, men start to produce less testosterone. And I think there's a big thing against people taking TRT. If it makes you feel better, people are willing to genuinely feel like trash and all these things because they don't want to put TRT in their body when it has been proven to improve health markers and make you feel better as a human being. All these things. And since there's such a big stigma on it, people won't do it. You naturally boost your testosterone as a man. Lower your body fat percentage if you're a higher body fat percentage man. Clean up your diet, start getting daily activity. Your body needs to deliver nutrients, and when you're moving, your blood is constantly flowing, delivering nutrients and all these special things. When you get your blood work back, your doctor will tell you certain things that are making your testosterone lower.
Sunlight.
Get sunlight, get some vitamin D, but also pair with a K2. A lot of people don't know that. You have to have K2 to make D3 bioavailable in your body. So that's why it's so important to know micronutrients in your body. To get enough K2, though, you only need 1 or 2 eggs in a day. That's it. 1 or 2 eggs daily. So not that much. And that's why when people take D3 just by itself without taking the K2 supplement as well, I think it's crazy because you're not going to really make it bioavailable. So that's one really big thing. And then start weightlifting. Having more muscle on your frame naturally is going to boost your testosterone more. So lower body fat percentage, increase muscle mass, and start socializing. Socializing is really important. It's actually been proven in studies. It's actually more unhealthy to feel lonely and have no social interaction than smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. Crazy.
Whoa.
Because of the fact that loneliness has such a negative impact on our body. So sunlight, daily activity, weight training, and
Is
clean
it
up
only
your
for a
diet.
man?
No, everyone. It's very, very important. So those are the key things I would say to naturally boost your testosterone.
Awesome.
Very simple stuff. I'm pretty sure most people know this though. I think they just need to be told it again, a reminder of it. Yeah.
No, you would be surprised.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I've worked with thousands of clients. I've been asked the questions of questions. So I try not to judge because obviously they don't know it. So why do you make them feel
There
stupid?
is no bad question.
Yeah, no such thing as a bad question, especially if you're working with a coach and they make you feel bad. That's a bad coach. But back to the animal-based diet, back on the diets in general, I think animal-based is amazing. Overall, it's great. I think you could have more carbs because it's hard to get enough carbs through just fruit.
Fruits, yeah.
So I think you can have more natural occurring carbs.
Like sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes, potatoes in general, but those are all really fiber dense, so you're not getting enough carbs. But fiber's great. There's a lot of benefits to it. I just personally would add maybe rice or pasta to it to increase my carbs. But besides that, it's amazing. No cons really. If you only have fats and protein, you're not tracking properly. You could have slightly high LDL, but in general, animal based is pretty healthy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Keto.
I'm not the biggest fan of keto.
Me too.
So the keto diet is a diet that they rely on ketogenesis. They want to be in ketosis, where they want to just burn fat and they use fat as their store of energy. And they think, oh, I'm going to use fat in my body. But in reality, they're just using calories. If you are lower, I should be more exact, but I'm trying to simplify it as much as possible. Your body uses glucose, but you're switching to ketones when you're on the keto diet. That's what it's called, keto. So you're using fat stores or using fat as energy rather than glucose as energy. But that is just because you're not having glucose. You can still overeat on calories if it's fat only. And it's actually a really low protein diet as well if you follow the keto diet.
Yeah.
So your blood work can get worse. I genuinely don't know how it got popular. I really
It was
don't.
so popular like 2 years ago.
I think it's because it's
Popular.
counterculture where everyone was saying fats are making you fat, carbs are your friend, and then it switched where everyone's like carbs are your enemy, fats are your best friend.
It's just extreme. There's so
Yeah.
much extremes. Also, there's a lot of keto snacks where some of them have extreme bad ingredients. They make you feel even worse than better.
I think it's funny when people are not on the keto diet and they see keto friendly on the meal. It's actually worse for you if you're not following the keto diet because it's so calorically dense. It's a more calorically dense item than the original amount because it's just fats. That's what makes it keto friendly. It has no carbs. So you switching from the normal item to the keto and you're not following the keto diet as a whole, you're actually making it worse. You're making a surplus. Because I remember one of my clients, it was so funny. They were eating a bunch of food and they kept sending me keto snacks. And I was like, you're not on keto. We're not doing keto. And they're like, no, it's great. It's keto, so it's healthy. And I was like, no. It's not healthy because it's keto. It's just increasing your fat content. So if you're on the keto diet, you rely on fats and makes you feel more full. That's why it works. But it's also flavor fatigue, and you basically have no food to pick from. You can't have carbs and you can't have too much protein. You only have fat-friendly things. So it's really hard to overheat because flavor fatigue
You're
as a
not
whole.
hitting your protein goal at all.
Yeah, I would much rather Atkins diet. Atkins is basically no carbs, fat, and protein. Way bigger fan of Atkins. Basically just a low carb
What
diet.
about protein fasting?
Protein fasting is great. It's a great question. So protein fasting is you only have extremely low sources of protein, extremely low fat sources of protein, sorry. And you have that around till noon, 2 o'clock, and you have your more enjoyable meals throughout the day later. So 2 to 6, you have really enjoyable carb heavy, fat heavy meals. This helps with a person that doesn't have a crazy appetite in the morning. And I always tell people, even if you don't have a crazy appetite, you should have a little bit of protein because when you do get your appetite, you'll be famished and you're more likely to overeat because you'll be shocked. This blew me away my first couple of years of coaching. Most clients don't have an appetite in the morning. You're like, oh, you're going to intermittent fast.
But they think it's really, really good.
Yeah. And their first meal, they binge like crazy because they waited until they were starving to have that first meal. It's a bad relationship with food. So I always tell them, hey, have a little bit of a protein source, maybe a fat source.
And then they just start overeating at night.
Yes. So have as much protein as you can. A good goal is to have 50 grams of protein before noon. That's what you should try to do.
50 or 30.
For men, 50, 30 for women. That's what I would say.
Perfect.
And that's a really good number. And try to make it for men under 800 calories for the 50 grams of protein. And for women, try to go like
30, 35.
Yeah.
For a woman, she can't really eat in the morning, but she knows that she needs to have some protein. Is it okay if she's going to have some supplement protein?
Oh, 1,000,000%. That's a great question. Protein's an amazing thing. Protein supplement. It's actually the most bioavailable form of protein you could possibly get.
Protein.
Whey isolate.
Whey isolated, yeah.
100%. It's amazing. And you can actually see the score of bioavailability of protein. Eggs are top up there. Whey protein's up there. And it has the full branch amino acid chain, which makes it so it's very bioavailable and you can absorb all of it. The only issue that people always hear about protein is because they don't understand it. That's truly what it is. It's just the liquid on top of cheese. When you have Greek yogurt, you know that liquid? That's whey. When you make cheese, there's a lot of liquid on top. And farmers used to throw it away. And now they're like, oh, we can make money off this and dry it. And then it's the leanest source of protein you could possibly have.
Mozzarella cheese, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, just cheese. Any dairy product. It's just on top. It's just dairy. That's why people that are lactose intolerant sometimes can't have whey because it's a dairy item.
One time, one person told me that it made this protein makes from bugs.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Wild.
It's actually cheap too. If people get over the fear of bugs, I've actually been looking into this. Pretty lean source of protein. And it's really cheap because there's so many bugs. So if you dry them and fry them, boy, oh boy, they taste pretty good. But I do think that's pretty funny.
What about plant-based?
Plant-based, I think it's fine.
Plant-based
If you're doing it for the reasons for the animals, all power to you. You just have to be very intentional about your choices of food because the bioavailability of protein. So you can keep slamming the same source of protein and you're not getting the full chain, and it's gonna mess you up and it's hard to get that protein in. You're also not gonna get a lot of B12. You're not gonna get a lot of iron.
But for protein, plant-based protein, does it have the old amino acid chains?
Yeah, it's not as bioavailable, but recent protein powders pretty good. I'll be honest. Back in the day, it was a big issue, but now it's pretty good.
Awesome.
We've improved the industry quite a bit. So vegans and all those people can definitely get enough in. But you have to think the general person. The general person watching, I guarantee, doesn't track their calories and all these things. They don't want to track their calories because it is a task that's tedious. And so I get that. So when you switch these diets and these vegans say, oh, it's the best diet to lose a bunch of weight. Oh, you can get your B12. You know how intentional you have to be doing that? When carnivores are like, oh, you can get vitamin C from liver. You have to be so damn intentional. When people hear carnivore, they hear, oh, just eat meats. They don't hear, oh, I should have this micronutrient because it's deficient in this diet. Same with keto, same with Atkins, all these diets. People know the general scope of it. They don't know the nuances. So when people are like, oh, it is possible, stop saying it's possible. We're not all the 1%. In theory, we could do the Twinkie diet and still lose weight. You can have 1,500 calories a day and only eat Twinkies, Doritos, and Oreos. A doctor did that, and he lost weight. I can't give my clients Twinkies, Doritos, and all these things, and they're going to lose weight. You can't prescribe the 1% to the 99%. It doesn't make any sense. That's why I hate these fad diets, because they know the general scope. When you're on keto, eat fat. When you're on carnivore, eat meat. They don't know the nuances. We'll break off into Q&A. You guys had a bunch of questions that we wrote down for you guys. Yana will ask them, and then I'll ask the ones that you guys asked for Yana.
What are the best food to lose belly fat?
The best foods to lose belly fat: potatoes, because they're extremely satiating. You feel really full. It's the number one food to make you feel full per gram, because it has fiber and all these micronutrients. A lot of people fear potatoes because they think fries. We're not frying the potato. Potatoes as a whole are amazing.
For some reason, okay, I'm from Russia, right? For some reason, in our culture, we think that potatoes are way worse and more dense in calories than rice. So we would never eat potatoes.
Yeah, it's way more volume. You just added another reason. So much more volume. It's not dense in calories at all. Next up, I would say...
Matter of fact, it's even less calories than rice.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I would say berries. Extremely dense in fiber. Very satiating. Again, volume. You can add so much volume, so many micronutrients that make you feel so full. Unbelievable. So number 1, potatoes. Number 2, berries. And then number 3, I try to find a lean source that you enjoy. And a good rule of thumb you should have is 1 gram of protein for 10 calories. So these would be life hacks for you that you can have these 3 things on a daily basis. So protein dense and fiber dense foods, they're burn the belly fat because of the fact you're not hungry. So you're going to be in a calorie deficit naturally and you're going to feel full while you're losing weight. It's an amazing thing.
Wow. Another question was, what's the worst mistake someone can make while trying to lose fat?
Eat less, move more.
2 hours of cardio.
Yeah, go on runs constantly and just eat less food as a whole. Lose all the sugar, lose all the carbs, cut everything out in your diet. Do the most restrictive thing on earth.
Yeah.
It's a good way to get an eating disorder and go right back to square one in 90 days.
And extreme amount of cardio. I always get that. How much cardio? 2 hours or 4 hours? 5.
I do 3 hours of Stairmaster today.
Yeah.
I really feel my glutes is really burning a lot. Is it okay? Is it growing my glutes? I get that all the time from the female clients. And it's not their fault because when they feel
just
it.
don't know. Yeah.
Well, when they feel the stimulation, they think it's causing growth because they associate pain with growth. They associate pain with good, which is weird. You shouldn't do that. Pain's not it's not direct tie to stimulation. So when you're doing
soreness.
Yeah, so when you do Stairmaster, you're stimulating it, but you're not stimulating it for growth. You're adding extra fatigue. So if you just do glute, I'd actually prefer you do treadmill. Just walk for a little bit.
Yeah. And can we speak more on soreness? Like if you feel sore, it doesn't mean that you have an amazing workout.
Yeah, we haven't answered the other one though. Remember? So what inherently you guys say, oh, move more, eat less. That's the rule of thumb for everyone. Burn more calories than you consume. You shouldn't make it sustainable. Selfishly, as a coach, I would love for someone to go extreme because that 90-day transformation, boy, my God, blow that up. I'm going to post that everywhere.
Amazing.
But realistically, I already have the testimonies. I don't need those testimonies anymore. So I'm about sustainability. And that's why I coach in those 4 different phases that you know about.
Mm-hmm.
Don't need to go on it with the podcast. But if you move more and you create this higher deficit and you're going from, let's say your maintenance is 3,000 calories. Now you're tracking your food. We're not even tracking your food. You're probably just restricting yourself. You're eating 2,000 calories now. You're starving yourself. The only time you eat is just one portion. It's tiny. You're hungry all day. And you're like, oh, I must be losing weight. I'm hungry. The next thing you do is I'm going to increase my movement. You just made that deficit so freaking high because you're increasing 2 things at once that increase the deficit, and you're not going to adhere to it because it's so extreme. That's why I don't let anyone do the essential diet when they're first starting out because it's so extreme and
it's not
unsustainable.
sustainable.
Not in any way. So you want to build habits. That's why I always say the number one thing you should do when you're losing fat is to build the habits of the body that you want. Because if you have the habits, you'll always adhere to it. Because even if I gave you, I said this in the last podcast, if I gave you your dream body, how long are you going to keep that body?
Yeah.
You have to think of that because you can super speed to that body. How long are you going to keep it? If you don't know how to keep it and you're suffering, you're going to hate your life. So why would you want that even?
Yeah.
So now, what was your question about soreness?
I feel like people misunderstand soreness, and they feel like if I'm sore, then I had an amazing workout. And if I'm not sore, I need to do more to be sore, to have a good workout.
Soreness can mean you had a bad workout, and soreness means you can have a good workout. It can mean both. So with muscle soreness, you get it from a new stimulation, meaning you're doing new movement, going heavier, you're doing extra reps, doing an extra set. That can make you sore. That doesn't mean you're growing. So soreness, it could mean you had a great workout and you're sore and you're growing, but there's no feeling in the body that causes muscle growth. So
Wow.
when my clients
People
tell me,
need to hear that.
when people, I always get so upset. I don't get upset, obviously, but they text me, I can't even walk the next day. I'm like, oh, damn, I messed up your programming. Because they're like, this is the best workout ever. I'm so glad I'm doing your split. I can't walk. I need to change this workout. You're doing too much volume. And they go, why? I'm like, you're just starting out. You shouldn't have to not walk. When you're first starting out, doing 4 sets of squat could change your life. Just squatting. You're getting that new stimulation. It's progressive overload for a reason. And once you get to a certain level of volume, you should progressively overload with the weight, not increasing sets and reps. That's what people always get confused. So there's no actual feeling in the body that causes the growth. So soreness can mean, yeah, it's an amazing workout, and also could mean you did way too much and your body can't recover from it. And now your next workout's going to hinder because of that fact.
Yeah, and it's going to take forever to recover.
100%. That's a great question. Thank you for asking.
How important is cutting sugar to lose fat?
Cutting sugar is the least important thing you can do in a diet because fruit, for example, has sugar. You might be saying, oh, it's natural sugar. Your body sees it differently. The only different sugar that your body sees is dates, and that's why it doesn't spike your blood sugar as much. Dates also have fiber. That's why it also doesn't do it. But your body sees glucose as glucose. Sugar is glucose. Carbs are glucose. It's not a bad thing. Your body loves sugar so much, it produces sugar when it's not in the body. When you only have fats and protein, they turn fats and protein into glucose because they want it so bad. So when you cut out sugars, you're just associating sugar with fat when that's not the case. You can enjoy sugar. Again, like we said earlier, we had ice cream earlier today. It's not a big deal. You can fit the things in. It's not sugar directly. It's just calories.
When I was really into fasting and glucose, when I would want something sweet, for example, chocolate cake, right? We would have a chocolate cake or someone's birthday. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want this chocolate cake. I would eat Greek yogurt before that, get some fats in my system, so the glucose spike is not that high.
You mean protein?
Protein, my bad.
No, that's amazing. That's really smart. That's really good stuff.
I would literally eat and like mix it with the Greek yogurt, so I get the fats in, protein, and then I eat chocolate cake.
That's really smart. Yeah. See, you can mitigate these things if you know what you're doing and you can enjoy your diet.
Yeah.
So associating one thing to it.
After that, that's it.
Yeah, you can't associate one thing to fat loss and muscle gain, things like that. It is a complex, nuanced thing.
Top 3 things you would recommend to lose fat that are easy and simple.
Trying to have protein in every single meal. Have a palm size of protein in every single meal. Makes you feel more full. Having more muscle in the body. It's going to make you lose more fat, which is a great thing. And that works for both genders because your palm is different sized if gender based. Yeah. So that's an amazing thing. Try to get 10K steps a day. Increasing your daily activity. Go for a 10-minute walk after every hour.
Yeah, and you don't have to run for 5 hours. Please don't. Like, walking is an amazing source of cardio.
I've never prescribed more than 12.5K steps a day to any client ever. It is not needed. I don't even exceed that. There's no need. And sometimes it can actually cause the opposite effect, especially in women. Some women clients of mine that did 25,000 steps on average, they lost their period because they can't recover from 25K steps on a daily basis,
Yeah. And
no matter how much you sleep.
yeah.
So, and then number 3, I would say proper sleep, 7-9 hours of sleep a night. Because if you don't have enough sleep, you're going to naturally increase your ghrelin. Ghrelin's the hormone that makes you feel really hungry, and you're decreasing leptin, which makes you feel full. Leptin's the hormone that makes you feel full. So naturally, you're going to be doing 2 things, increasing your hunger and making yourself less full. And there's multiple studies showing that you naturally crave more savory things that are salty and carb dense. So they're not going to make you feel as full as well. So you're going to be snacking throughout the day more. And not to make you guys fear not sleeping, kind of, when they had less sleep, they gained actual more weight in the group that had 7-9 hours of sleep. They did nothing else. They just naturally ate more due to the fact that they had lack of sleep. You might be saying, hey, can I catch up on my sleep on the weekend? I work on the weekdays. I have a kid, all these things. I can't sleep. Can I catch up on the weekend? There's a study on this. They allowed people to sleep as much as they want on 2 days of the week. So 5 days of the week, they only slept 5 to 6 hours. So during that time, they lose that 2 to 4 hours on a daily basis. On the weekends, they only regained 20 to 25% of their sleep.
Wow.
Because think about it. If you sleep on the weekends, you
It's
get
not the same as
unlimited
calories.
amount. You slept the unlimited amount, and you lost during that week 8 to 10 hours. Okay, let's say you sleep in on Saturday. You get 10 hours of sleep. That's a lot. It's a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
You got an additional 1 hour.
Tired.
You got an additional 1 hour. And then on Sunday, say the same thing. You get an additional hour or 2. You just got 3 hours back out of that whole week that you're losing 4 to 3 on a daily basis. Your body doesn't naturally go, oh, let me sleep for 24 hours to regain this. It doesn't happen. And I love sleep, if you couldn't tell. There's a natural study that we do every year, daylight savings. We lose 1 hour of sleep. Crash rate in car accidents increase substantially. Cancer increases substantially. And mortality rates in general increases substantially just losing 1 hour of sleep.
Wow.
Sleep is so essential, so that's why it's in my top 3.
Love it. I love it. How is cortisol affect fat loss?
Cortisol doesn't make you gain fat. It's naturally catabolic, meaning it burns things, burns muscle and burns
Someone's
fat.
gonna hate you for that.
But you can move fat in different areas if you have naturally higher cortisol. So you hold it more in your belly fat. Crazy. Because usually fat distribution is very genetic based, but if you have really enhanced cortisol levels or high cortisol levels in your body, it can go to your gut. But inherently, you're not going to gain fat if your cortisol is high. That is not the case. It's catabolic in the name. It's catabolic. It ruins things. It gets rid of things. So you can lose muscle and you can lose fat. So in its nature, if you understand that, it's not putting fat in your body. It's just putting fat in different spots on your body, which make you not like it. Do you ever see those people that have really skinny arms and a big gut? You don't like it. No one likes that. But a lot of people think they have naturally high cortisol levels. It costs $50 to get a cortisol test. Please get the cortisol test because realistically, not that many people have super high cortisol levels. And just because you watched a video saying, here are 3 signs you have high cortisol, doesn't mean you have high cortisol. Yeah. So please just get the data on your body.
I think a healthy amount is like 6 in the morning, like 6% or something like that. I was watching this video of this lady talking about it.
Yeah, your cortisol is really high in the morning, or the highest it will be in the morning, because that's what wakes you up. So, yes, just get the cortisol test. It doesn't affect your fat loss journey that much. If you're in a chronically high cortisol state, you have a lot more bigger things to worry about than just your fat. Having high cortisol affects a lot of things. Your body, it's naturally occurring, of course, but if you have naturally enhanced or elevated,
naturally we do have cortisol.
But if it's elevated at all times, yes, you're going to have health side effects that are bigger than just fat loss. So don't blame cortisol for your fat loss. You're still just over consuming calories. It's just distributing differently.
Be for real.
We got all the questions that you guys asked me. Now we're going to ask the questions that you guys asked Yana. This is mainly from the girlies.
I love my girlies.
What are 3 things you would tell women to do to work out on their period?
I don't recommend working out day before period and day on the period. And then the second day, I recommend always track the cycling. So get the app. It's free. You can get it in like Flow or Cycle. Get the app, track your periods, just so you have an idea and visually you can see where you are on your cycle. Don't work out day before because your body is going through a lot of stress, and you're gonna add more stress to it. It's not gonna make it better. It's gonna only make it worse. Get some sunlight, relax, just go on a walk. Second day,
Like an active rest day.
active rest day, yeah, maybe some stretching. No extreme cardio, no 5 hours of running. Stairmaster. Second day, you can do like if you feel okay on a second day, you can definitely do like a light body work, not a hit body workout, more like an upper body workout, just like a light, no leg day, don't go too hard. Third day, if you feel okay, you can go heavier.
What's the biggest mindset shift women need to make to achieve their fitness goals?
Knowing their why and not just seeing the goal. They just strike for the result, and the only why is this beautiful body. That's really not what everything about. It's really not that.
Has your why recently switched since the last time we talked?
It did. My grandma passed away a few days ago, and it's been tough, but it was definitely a huge mindset shift of she felt and she couldn't get up. And this is like, of course, the more you get older, the more you get, your body gets older. But
Did you pay attention to her health?
no, never. Not in my culture. My culture doesn't really pay attention to working out, eating healthy. It was never like that. So she never even worked out, never walked as much, never eat healthy. So that was my biggest why.
So did she ever in her life get step counts or prioritize certain things for her health, like get her protein and things like that? Because I know the number one reason people go to retirement homes is because they can't squat out of a toilet. So did she ever prioritize it?
She only started walking when she got older. So she only started walking when she got into retirement home, because everybody was walking, so she was walking too. So that's why importance of health in general. Just be healthy.
Yeah, thinking long term. I think
yeah.
a good quote to live by is the heart attack you had today wasn't from today. It's from your decisions 30 years ago.
Yeah, amazing.
Good quote to live by.
Or my favorite is, do something today that your future self will thank you for.
It's another bar. It's really good
Love
stuff.
it.
So when you attach your why to things like that, it's going to change your life because of the fact that it's going to motivate you more than just get that dream body for the summer. It's going to motivate you to have that dream body for the rest of your life. And then also making decisions that are healthy, not just to help your look, but also make you feel good.
Look comes with it too, but
Pilates or weightlifting for women trying to get that hourglass shape?
weightlifting. This misconception of Pilates will give me this amazing glass shaped body. It won't. It's definitely amazing for stability, mobility, stretching. It's great. But if you still love Pilates, you want to do Pilates, just do it twice a week, and then weightlifting 3 times a week, focusing on if you want a bigger butt. Figure out your routine.
Yeah, the exact question. I onboarded someone the other day, and the exact question was, I do Pilates 5 times a week, and I weightlift twice a week. Is that okay? And I said, you should probably flip those numbers to 3 to 4 times a week weightlifting. And if you do want to do Pilates, just think of it as cardio. So maybe do less steps in the day.
It's good. It's not bad for you.
Yeah, it's just a good HIIT workout.
HIIT workout, or good for mobility, for stability. It's great.
I like to simplify it. Just think of it as you're getting your step count a day while weightlifting. Just the only thing is, she was doing Pilates before weightlifting because she liked to feel warm. I actually say otherwise, because you're going to be so tired from doing so much cardio. Weightlift, and then no matter what, you're going to do the Pilates workout. You don't need to exert extra.
And you don't gain any muscles by doing Pilates.
Yeah. So it's there to burn calories and to be healthy and get that VO2 max, get a core stability, things like that. That's great. But prioritize weightlifting and then do Pilates after. And it's a great social event.
Yeah.
So you can do both.
Pilates?
What?
Have you done Pilates?
I've done it once.
How did you like it?
I was not a fan.
Okay.
I feel like they intentionally targeted me because I was the only male in the class that was kind of bigger. So they intentionally made it really hard, and that she kept picking on me. It was funny, but I feel like if I was a woman, I would not have been picked on.
Maybe she was trying to hit on you.
No. Do you think if a woman is just starting on the fitness space, should she focus on putting on muscle or losing fat?
You can focus on both at the same time. Just have to create a perfect workout routine and macros.
Yeah, especially with newbie gains.
Yeah.
I think if you're starting at a higher body fat percentage, you can go in a deficit and you'll be healthier because you're losing fat and you're gaining muscle, especially if they're skinny fat.
Oh, skinny fat is interesting.
Because if you're skinny fat, it's in the name. You have a
Mhm.
surplus of fat in the body.
And no
So
muscles.
you can use the fat on your body to put muscle on
Put muscle
as
on,
the
yeah.
caloric surplus because
Yeah.
that fat on your body is
Just focusing on protein and
daily movement.
workouts. I promise you girls, like, it's not that hard. It's really not. Focus on it's not hard. Focus on protein.
We should say
daily
it's
movement.
not easy, but it's simple.
It's not easy. I guess because my mentality is different right now, and it's easy and it's not hard for me. But for people who are starting, you're right.
Well, when you say the word easy, the second something gets hard, they're going to stop because their expectations are it's easy. So they're doing something wrong because it's not easy. So I think you're on the right point. I think the phraseology is just harder to portray to the beginners.
just stay consistent.
Start small.
Yeah.
Daily step count,
Daily.
tracking your calories. Don't even start at a deficit.
Focus on protein.
100%. I think those are great things.
What does hunger mean in a calorie deficit?
Hunger doesn't mean you're in a calorie deficit inherently. So say there's a scale of 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people say, oh, you should be hungry in a calorie deficit. If you're just starting out, you're hungry in a calorie deficit because you're losing this hormone called leptin. Leptin is stored in your fat cells. Leptin makes you feel full. But when you're first starting out, you haven't lost the fat yet. So inherently, you're just making bad substitutions and you're just eliminating. I'm a big believer of substitute or add to your diet, never take away. So instead of having white rice and pasta, something that makes you feel not that full for a lot of calories, you switch to quinoa, sweet potatoes. Those substitutions are going to naturally put you in a calorie deficit without making you feel like you're losing any food. And actually can make you feel more full if you're not used to those things and having protein in your diet and things like that. So if it's on a scale of 1 to 10, all human beings operate probably around 3 to 7, would you say? Right?
3 or 7.
Not a lot of people are eating 10 on a daily basis where they're just famished. And not a lot of people are 1 where they're uncomfortably full where they couldn't even think of a food item. Most people are probably in the range of 3 to 7. When you're in a calorie deficit, when you're first starting out, you should probably stay in that range. But when you're in a calorie deficit and you've lost a substantial amount of fat, since you lost that leptin and you're not used to it yet, I'd say the range is more of a 2 to a 5 for hunger. So you should never beyond a 6 or a 7 because that means you're doing something wrong in your diet. You're either not having your essential micronutrients, your coach is giving you an improper meal plan, you're doing too much in a day because starvation is not good. You shouldn't be starving throughout the day, but you should be slightly hungry when you're in a deficit, and that is normal. You should have that as a realistic expectation. So when you are losing weight, you know that's going to happen. But it isn't a direct sign that you're hungry because I think you're doing something wrong if you're starving in a calorie deficit because realistically, most of my clients are not hungry at all times when they're first starting out the first couple of months. It's really the first couple of months are just habit building. You're losing weight. You don't have to prioritize certain things yet.
So hunger is fine. Starving is not okay.
Yeah, it's a good summary of that. How do you think of hunger in a calorie deficit?
Don't starve yourself. Hunger is fine. That's it.
Well, with intermittent fasting, I think
Intermittent fasting is different. You're starving. You're literally starving yourself.
and then you feel really, really full. It's kind of extremes. You're a 1 on fullness at the end of the day, or a 10 on fullness at the end of the day. But throughout the whole day, you're probably teetering between a 1 and a 3. But since it's not going up and down, that 1 and a 3 feels like a 6.
A lot of people do intermittent fasting for health purposes because they think that
Autophagy. That was one of the questions you guys asked for the autophagy fasting. What is autophagy fasting? Autophagy fasting means after a certain duration of time in a fast, you're going to start producing autophagy. But the funny thing is, when you're in a calorie deficit, you produce just the amount of autophagy that fasting produces. So is it fasting that causes the autophagy, or is it the fact that in your fasting state, you're in a caloric deficit because you're not eating food? So you actually get the same cell restoration, which is autophagy, in a caloric deficit. So fasting, I don't think is good. It could improve your gut health if you have some issues at hand, but that's the only thing I can see in the literature that it is improving. Because it actually shows if you do a continuous deficit versus fasting in a deficit, you lose more muscle mass while you're fasting in a caloric deficit. Mr. Beast even tested it. He did a fast for 30 days and 40% of his fat loss or weight loss was muscle tissue. That's crazy because he wasn't getting his protein in. And in a fasted state, your cortisol is at an all-time high. So you're in a fight or flight state, making you feel more vigilant, more awake, more focused, but that's because your body's in a fight or flight state. So reflecting back to the earlier where we're saying, oh, cortisol is such a big issue, but these same people say you should fast. So it's contradicting it. It's pretty funny where they say, oh, you should fast to lower your cortisol level when it's actually the highest it ever is.
Yes.
And so also for
Not getting any food.
men and women, your hormones are messed up until you have your first meal because your cortisol is so freaking high. That's
Yeah.
why I said there's
Yeah.
more health side effects earlier.
So if you really want to fast as a woman, don't fast on your cycle, on your menstrual cycle.
Well, I think fasting in general, male or female, it shows your testosterone plummets until you have your first meal as a male. And same with women. Women still need testosterone in their body. It still is a natural occurring thing. So when you have this messed up hormone regulation, it's going to do a toll on you down the road, long term. Short term, yeah, you might lose weight because you're not eating food. It's nothing special about fasting that's going to cause this fat loss. It's just the fact that you're not eating food, which is starving yourself. You're eating less food. That's why I said the worst thing you can do is just eat less and move more. Because that is oversimplification that people think, oh, less food and I should just run all the time. Fasting is the same thing. You just don't eat food. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And these initial benefits is just you lowering body fat percentage. So it's not fasting itself that's doing it. It's that you're making healthier choices in your calorie deficit. And there's actually more cons to intermittent fasting or fasting than it is in general.
That was good.
Please like, subscribe, and ask us questions like you did in this video.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're going to do this weekly.
Thank you for having me on your podcast, Obi.
Of course. Of course. Hopefully the lean bulk goes well so people want to join along.
Yay.